Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host 𝙒𝙖𝙩𝙨. Apologies for the slight delayed start. We just had to take care of a few technical issues. We're all set now, and let's welcome Professor R Vaidyanathan. We're going to talk about BRICS and real things, mortars, dollar, and what have you from a professor of finance. Professor RV, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel.
Namaste. Namaskar.
Sir,
Namaste. Namaskar. Vanakkam. It's always a joy and pleasure to address the PGuru audience. I have always maintained because of the erudition and the incisive nature of the audience. And most of the comments are very useful actually. I may not be responding to them individually, but I am reading them. And I am really able to incorporate some of the suggestions in the future talks. Now, today, I should, of course, thank Shri Iyer for giving this opportunity, and Sachin Sharma, our technical cum erudite, cum process, cum SOP, everything. Sachin Sharma is in the background, but he is actually one of the pillars of this, if I can call it that way with Iyer's permission.
yes, sir, absolutely. You can.
PGurus system. Thank him also. Now, month of April is an interesting month for many reasons. Many of the followers of the Suryamana, based on sun sign, they have the new year in the month of April. Different places, different names are given for that. Vaishak is the first month for Punjab and other places. In Tamil Nadu, it is Chitra. So this those who follow the sun system. The moon system already is over in the month of March itself, which is called Ugadi, or which is also Gudi Padwa.
Yeah.
It has been celebrated already. But April also is an interesting month because on April 14th, the Ambedkar is a new icon actually. For the first 30-40 years, he was not so much talked about. But now he has become the new one actually. Now Mahatma Gandhi is much less talked about compared to Ambedkar. Ambedkar is the current, these are cycles, I always call it. After 30-40 years, somebody else might come again. Anyhow, his Jayanti, what is called his day of birth, is celebrated on April 14th, which also coincides with the Tamil New Year Day. So, from Subhakrita, we are supposed to enter Shobhakrita. So many changes have come about. I would say April 2023 will go in the annals of global economic history as a very important month. First and foremost is, I think all of you would know about the BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. The aggregate GDP of the countries belonging to this group has exceeded that of G7. G7 is primarily a white man's group excluding Japan. You have USA, Canada, UK, Germany, France, Australia. And so G7 is considered as one of the major economic group. But the BRICS have exceeded that of the G7. This is the first time in the annals of history, April 23. You should recollect this, or you should remember this. Not only that, something else is also happening. Let's have I have put it in the proper forum. So I would read it out. Now the BRICS is traditionally these 5 members, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Now, very interestingly, 12 other countries, 2 other countries have applied for becoming member. That is what the current BRIC in charge, Chairman, South African Foreign Minister says. It's a very interesting. Mexico has applied. South Africa also says that Saudi Arabia, UAE, Nigeria, some of the very big countries in terms of population as well as in terms of economics. 12 others have applied. So if the 12 others are admitted, 12 plus these 5 will become 17. It's going to be one of the major, largest grouping in the world. Actually, we should recognize that. Not only that, something else has also happened. What is that? If you look at the this BRICS country global market share, actually 3 countries only, mainly Russia, India, and China. If you take even in steel, 66% is the market share. 66. In coal, 65%. Electrified rail is 55%. Fertilizer, 45%. Wheat, 42%. Population, of course, no need to stress, is 40%. Iron ore is 26%. And natural gas is 25%. Oil is 16%. So this is something very, extraordinary. Very major thing is taking place in the global economy. This we are not adequately recognizing it, and I think as usual, we will go through this and then we will look back and then appreciate ourselves or appreciate the whole thing which has taken place. This is
Yeah.
what even normally we don't understand or recognize while they are happening.
Sir,
Now,
one data point you just said. Sorry to interrupt you, sir. One data point you said is very interesting. Are you saying that Russia, India, China combined are only consuming 16% of the total crude oil output?
yes,
Hmm.
that is why I have always been arguing, even in PGurus channel, for the last maybe 1 or 2 years, we should have RIC combined. Russia, India, China. India should be the link between R and C. Anyhow, so this is
Right now it is
very,
RCI,
not
sir.
only that, now the BRICS country are working on very seriously. I can assure you on that. Some background work is going on. I am also providing a little input, another thing, to create a big
I'm
council.
I'm trying to visualize this, right? I'm trying to visualize. I have 2 hands. One hand is busy fighting with China. The other hand is busy writing new deals. How is that possible, sir?
Which one? Where?
You were saying that in RIC, India is working towards proposals. What I'm saying is China is practically barking at the doorstep of Arunachal along the LAC.
No, no, no.
On the
Don't.
one hand, we
I will
fight.
come to that. I'll come to that. Don't go by New York Times and Wall Street Journal reports on all these things. Okay? What is happening is totally different. And to start with, one elementary thing I will tell you, name 2 countries in the world. Name any 2 countries in the world which are adjacent to each other and which don't have border problem.
That's true.
Name any 2 countries. And this is being usipified in Tamil, it is called, instigated by the G7, because they want to pitch India against China. Very simple. You see, now the global order is US on one side and China on the other side. Let's be very, very clear about it. China is number 2 in terms of all type of indicators and other thing. And earlier US and Russia used to be the favorite thing. Now China and the US. And US knows it is a declining power. The man who is having dementia, he wants to contest one more time. I'm feeling sad about the citizens of US, people like you actually, who have, and all
We have
smiling.
much to be sad about. Sir, we have much to be sad about.
Yeah, all smiling Surpanaga wants to be again vice president, She's eagerly waiting for some thing to happen to occupy the main chair, right?
Chennai
So
Higher
this
woman has become Zorpanaka.
whole situation is extremely very, what I would rather call fragile, right? So they are not going to, G7 is not going to accept that it is going to be a also ran or nobody. Go back in the centuries, 14th century, Portugal was such a huge, you will be surprised, Portugal was a global power. Today, most educated people in the world cannot spot Portugal in the world map. Portugal is only known for soccer time. That's all. Particularly if they defeat, their
Spain.
adjacent country, Spain. That's all. And then Spain was a global power. Believe me. And then Dutch. And they were all seafarers. They were all having a good amount of what one can call activity. Dutch became a global. Then later on, they were replaced by French, and French was replaced by the British. British were replaced by the American. Now Americans are replaced by the Chinese. Let's be very, very clear about what is happening in the global order or global disorder or whatever it is. Now, only way G7 can deal with China, and there also ranks are getting broken. You might have observed that the French president France is burning, and that's a different issue. But he traveled all the way to China, and to impress upon China to sort out this war between Russia and Ukraine. I can't figure out at all where does China come into this picture. Why unnecessarily go there and tell them it is up to you, you have to deal with this and all. Anyhow, more importantly, he made observations that Europe has to have independent relationship with China. There is no point in trying to separate China. For the simple reason, France, Germany, and to some extent UK, more important, France and Germany, have huge amount of trade activity with China, running into hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. And most of the critical item, and including the purchase of peculiar Russian gas is oil and gas are not allowed. So India purchases Russian crude, refines it. We have some of you may or may not know, we have the largest refinery in the world actually. Among all the countries, we refine it and we resell it to Europe. This is some peculiar type of roundabout thing. And so they are not objecting to we buying from Russia because we after all provide it to them. And no European wants to live in the cold during winter or during summer in terms of getting boiled. So this is the situation today. And Germany also has independently got linkages with China. German ministers are visiting China, and so already the ranks are getting broken because every country has got its own interest, its own self requirements and other thing. So the old style of US being the single whistle blower and everybody following it like a Pied Piper of that's gone now actually. And US itself is realizing, many of the US experts in their own journals are writing, it is no more a leading global power. Nobody listens to that. That's another major issue. The vice president went to Africa, except democratic DC Congo. Nowhere else she was welcomed and embraced another. DC Congo is also primarily because of the Christian nation it being, and they are facing huge amount of problem from the neighboring Islamic revival and Islamic forces. And other places, it's a very pathetic thing. 550 crore, roughly 500 million people in Africa do not have any power, do not have any electricity or any water connection and other thing. And this vice president of US goes and talks there about preserving nature and not wasting power. How can they waste power? There is no zero power. So, the briefing is also nowadays not done appropriately. There is one cartoon or caricature type of a girl who comes as a press briefer in in the White House, and you feel sad about many of these things what is taking place. Anyhow, the declining US is not going to accept it. Let's be very clear about it. And a good candidate to stand against China, according to them, is India, because it's compared to Taiwan. Taiwan ex-president went to China and told, we are all Chinese. This is something which has not been adequately covered in the global press. He told, we are all Chinese, we all should think alike and other thing. So this is Taiwan is not unified against China, and India is relatively a bigger power which can be used against China, according to US calculations. I only hope India doesn't fall into the trap and other thing. Already enough amount of, and it is being made to appear as if up to Delhi is occupied by China, and there are enough people, including my good friend Sri Iyer, to create and then there is one person Delhi. There are some experts who are permanently what we may call seeing the red rag in China. I know China means media.
Would you be referring to somebody, sir? Would you be referring to somebody whose initials are S and S?
Who?
Would you be referring to somebody in Delhi whose initials are S and S?
No. I am talking about some experts on China.
I'm just pulling your leg, sir.
Yeah, but some other experts on China who are always on the prowl, who want to establish that China has entirely occupied all our territories, and recently it appears Arunachal Pradesh, China brought out a map indicating all the names and other thing in Mandarin, and it's a very simple thing. We can bring out a map of Tibet, including up to Shanghai, with all the names of towns and other thing in Sanskrit, Pali or Prakrit and other thing. This is no big deal. But we don't do it. Instead, we go on whining. This is what, that is why Chinese are enjoying the whole thing. That's all. There is nothing. Chinese knows that they are never going to get their southern Tibet, as they call it, this Arunachal Pradesh. This is not going to. But I think we have huge amount of trade deficit to China. Many of you may be knowing. Our imports are substantial. Let me tell you a not so well-known secret that even our nuclear reactors, we are importing good amount of material from China. So it's not something which is only the toys and the agarbatti type of thing from China. And there more than 50% of the global manufacturing is today taking place in mainland China. We should recognize that. There is absolutely no way you can ignore it, actually. And they are one of the largest exporters to Europe as well as to other countries. You may say that they have copied and they have done this and they have done, but they have final results they have achieved. Not only that, there is often talk, all companies are going to run away. Nobody is going to run away from China. Such a large market you don't get easily. And purchasing power is much, much higher. Actually, there are statistics for 12 cities of China whose combined GDP is more than that of India. 12 major cities of China is 4 trillion. And 3.2 trillion is their foreign exchange reserve, which is sort of equivalent to our GDP. I think we should be very, very clear about, and they really think that we are elder brothers. I think we should accept that very honorably. Now, what is the scenario which is taking place is, US is very fond of what is called regime change. Whenever they don't like somebody, they would like to change it. They have changed so many regimes in Africa. They have changed, assassinated leaders. Even now, CIA documents are accepting that they have done that. In Middle East, you see Iraq. They told that Iraq is storing all the these chemical weapons, and not even
Weapons of
one
mass destruction. Yeah.
bottle of hydrochloric acid they could locate in Iraq finally after invading it, and that Saddam Hussein was killed. And finally, what have they achieved? Nothing. Iraq is in chaos, and Lebanon, one after another, Syria, one after another, all the countries, and all these refugees are going towards Europe today, quite a large number. And that Merkel initially told multiculturalism another thing. At the time of retiring, she told multiculturalism doesn't work. So anyhow, US is fond of regime change, and now Soros is supposed to be having huge amount of fund also in order to. He has succeeded in some of the East European countries actually,
Sir,
and there is a talk that even in Israel he is extremely active vis-a-vis instigating the opposition with a huge amount of funds. So yeah, you want
sir,
to say something?
sorry to, yeah, just one of, are you saying or hinting that CIA is now outsourcing what it used to do before to individuals like Soros?
Come again?
Are you suggesting that the CIA of America is outsourcing to individuals like Soros?
No, Soros is not an individual. Don't ever mistake about it. It's a big institution actually.
So
It's got
institution
huge
like
number
Soros.
of subsidiary and activities and other thing. No, US has always outsourced. It's not that it has not done it or anything. From the time of called the UN chief was killed, it has always outsourced its activities to other, various agencies and other things. They have deliberately appointed the ambassador of India, who is well known for his 𝙒𝙗𝙖𝙩𝙦 support and for his so-called human rights. Human right is a very interesting red rag for all these developing countries. So that is one area. Other is minorities are in great danger. Recently I think our finance minister has also tried to answer some of these issues to the Western media. Western media is not going to listen to her or listen to you or listen to me. Western media will only listen to Foggy Bottom, that is the State Department, or to very extreme Western media to Pentagon. I'll give you a simple example. 25 years, the Ireland, the Catholic part of Ireland have been doing terrorist activities and other thing, and at last in the 90s they came into an agreement. Not a single time any white media wrote about a Catholic terrorist army. They always told about Irish Republican Army. Just get that into your head. Irish Republican. So to others it looks that some Republicans are fighting. What is the big deal? They should. But it is primarily between Catholics and Protestants. I was in Belfast. I can share a very funny anecdote with you. I was in an Irish pub. So I was telling, in those days, 80s, I was telling I am after all a Hindu. I don't have any worry about this. My English colleague, Manchester Business School, he told, Nathan, don't think like that. They will ask you a question. Are you a Hindu Catholic or a Hindu Christian? Protestant. Based upon your answer, they will deal with you. So there is, according to him, world is only these two, either Catholic or Protestant. There is nothing more or nothing less than that. So anyhow, Western media, you can go and try to talk to them. You can try to, none of them is going to listen to you. Primary loyalty of the Western media lies to State Department. Let's be very, very clear about it. Ultimate and primary loyalty. They may have in between, some. Nobody is going to hurt the interest of the US. So they will write more. They will say that already Chinese have occupied up to Delhi, and there are enough people here to believe that also. They will show some Chinese pictures, morphed Chinese pictures up to Delhi. All this going to. India is not going to be left alone in peace. I can assure you on that.
Sir, please check
Still,
if China is at your door, sir.
uh,
Please check if China is at your door. I hear the door.
no, that's what they will tell that. Then everybody will go and open their door and get worried, another thing. So the propaganda is going to be on a full stream. And domestic, of course, there are enough people who want to destabilize this regime day in and day out. They would, under some pretext or other. And it is already alleged that the leader of the Congress party, Rahul, when he was abroad, he asked for help from, that video is not very clear, but anyhow, he did mention about democracy is dead in India and need for the other global democratic countries to think about it. He didn't explicitly ask for it or anything. So, 23 and 24 are going to be very, very critical years. Let me tell you that there would be active regime change thing, and there are enough experts in Delhi to. And some people are telling, why are we not, taking action? Why are we not? Our army is idle, and all these things. We may be small nation, but we should attack, and we should retrieve all our. They do not know the elementary difference between LOC and LAC. LOC is a line of control, very clearly demarcated, fenced, and you exactly know. LAC is line of actual control, where shifting sands. Sometimes the Chinese troops come and dance and other thing. Sometimes Indian troops go and dance and other thing. So this is
but
not.
The music is the same, sir. The music is the same. It's always Bollywood.
Music is same, mostly Bollywood. Everybody loves it actually. So there is nothing wrong about it. So LAC is totally different compared to LOC. And let's be very clear about it. No government in Delhi is going to compromise anything on our territorial integrity. It's not going to happen. It's not going to. You can go on telling our friends at various, mostly these Delhi-based experts. I'm not getting his name. He's one of the strategic expert who is consistently.
Brahma Chalani.
Sorry?
Brahma Chalane.
Brahmachalani, correct. He is one of those who is who
Good
given
student, sir.
half a
I'm your good student.
stand before the Chinese embassy, and he will say throughout all of those people that he's extreme. I don't know. He's extraordinarily. There are some people like that actually who genuinely feel our interests are being compromised, which is not true actually. I can assure you there are enough people in our army, navy, intelligence, and these. One fundamental thing you should remember: these are not decided by the PM alone. There are so many people, including Lieutenant General Narasimhan, with whom I had occasion to interact.
Yes,
So many.
yes.
Our primary problem, again, let me repeat after so many times I have done. Our knowledge of China comes through US and Europe. We should have 50 China centers in India. China has got 16 India centers. We should have 50 China centers. Culture, arts, music, dance, yoga, and their politics, monitoring their social media, Weibo, monitoring their Facebook. We don't have. In India, I think hardly 100 people may be able to talk Mandarin. Our position is extremely precarious and ridiculous actually. Of a size of India, we have more centers to study Britain, which is a declined power, gone. We have more centers to study German, more centers to study US, of course. But not many. There is only one department in JNU, which is very relatively small. There is nothing. All our knowledge, let me tell you, including to Brahmachalani, including to others who are experts, comes from Western media, Western inputs. So that's not I'm not telling that you should reject it all and other thing. But is there a mechanism for which we have 50? I think government should immediately allocate 1,000 crores. 50 centers we should create all over India. 50. In everywhere, 100. Today, if we start, in another 5 years, it will have some results. Do people know how many regions are there in China? How many rivers are there in China? How many type of districts? How many type of languages? How many type of... Nothing. They go on shouting from here that, oh, they are autocratic, they are going to swallow us and other thing. This is all rubbish, if you ask me actually. As many fault lines are present in China as in India. We have not explicitly recognized any fault line. So, I think this whole thing, the American, partly supported by Europe, regime change in India is an actual picture, which is going to be activated. Already it has started, but it will become full-fledged in the next couple of months. We should be alert about it. I only wish and hope the BRICS get expanded with the new 8 countries, and the currency of BRICS will will make tectonic changes in the global economic and other situation. The new currency of BRICS is going to be a huge makeover and changeover for the global position. We have to be very careful in terms of not getting to the, dancing to the tune of others. Okay? Yeah,
Thank
something
you,
you
sir.
want
Thank
to
you.
mention.
Yes. See, when you were mentioning about the top 10 cities in China, I could only remember 4, sir. And I think I have done some study of China: Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Wuhan. All for the wrong reasons, of course. But point is that very little we know about China. That's been one of the endeavors of PGurus to try and get you Chinese insights. We had an Uyghur expert. We have a Hong Kong expert who comes very periodically. By the way, tomorrow we are going to release the latest status on what is happening inside China in my conversation with 𝙒𝙧𝙤𝙀𝘀. That will release first thing in the morning tomorrow. So remember what the good professor just said now, and also listen to that. But you should make your own decision. Don't take our word for it. But Professor RV, you've done this. This has been a very fun conversation, sir. Fun because you've brought some, undeniable truths. And that's absolutely right. Sir, you said that India needs to have at least 50 centers of Chinese excellence. This is something that should have been focused by the Modi government. It doesn't cost a lot, but you have to invest for decades to try and get this.
I tell you, the reason is our umbilical cords are tied to the West. We say look east, but our face is looking west. All the civil servants want to settle in US with the green card. Their children are all in US. Their their brothers, sisters. You see, we are genetically tied to West. It's not very easy. 50 centers of Chinese, but a lot of our Indian students are studying in China. This is not known to many people. When the Ukraine crisis came, only we came to know that some 50,000 people are doing medicine there. I can't believe it actually. I only hope I don't get operated by any one of those, students. Madagascar, we are studying.
Sir, I beg to differ, sir. The most advanced technology of organ transplant is in China today. Most advanced.
Is in Ukraine. Is in Ukraine.
No. In China, not in Ukraine.
China. Yeah. No, that's different. But sir, what I am telling is, so many of our students are going and studying there, but we don't have a proper, center to monitor any of these things.
Sir, what
ask our Indian, enlightened Indian students to name 4-5 cities in China. They will name, 100 locations in Europe.
Sir, I only could manage 4, sir. I'm hanging my head in shame. I could only manage 4. Actually, I can manage 5. Hong Kong also is China. So now I know 5.
Yeah. Anyhow, are there any queries?
No. We have dozens of questions. Let's go for the questions, please. Rahul Rathod wants to know, BRICS is really going to launch a new currency? De-dollarization is really happening, or is it just fantasy? Currently and in near future, are there any
No.
alternatives to the US dollar?
De-dollarization is already taking place. You see, Brazil and China has entered into a huge contract going into some 80 billions about China importing from Brazil corn and exporting some of its industrial product, and that is going to be in Chinese currency. So many cross border transactions are nowadays taking place not in dollar, US dollar, and BRICS going to launch a new currency is fact. It's working on it. It will take some time because of the the smoothing of some of the factors and other things. It's going to happen. De-dollarization is happening, and that's why US is very angry. US is worried. I'm telling you. And that man with the dementia, he says he may announce that he will contest again, and I'm sure he will forget it, and then again come back and say, did I announce that I am going to contest? And it's going to be fun. Anyhow, watch. Next
question, please. Ritik the Great wants to know, is US dollar a suspect currency? If then, how long can they sustain, as printing dollars is profitable business?
It can sustain as long as the global trade and commerce take place in that as an underlying, what you may loosely call something like a gold standard. The gold standard was abolished and dollar replaced it. And some of you may know 2/3 of the dollar actually is outside US. Only 1/3 is within US. So it's going to be. And once the trade and commerce take place in other currencies, even you see the ASEAN countries, which are considered normally as tail end of US, they are now telling they will like to trade in their own currencies. So would like to create one ASEAN thing. Let's wait and see. Right?
Bharani Chandar wants to know, US podcast Valuetainment run by experts talked about US problem between China. They said that there was a sound POTUS can implement a regime change in China. If that is the case, what are India's chances?
Regime change in China, they are all dreaming anyhow. See, China, like they say that China has got 12% of its population, adults who are members of the Chinese Communist Party. And they have commune level election, then district level, then state level, then at the province level, and at the it's not something which is all Z is having a gun in his hand, and no, it's it's not obviously the type of democracy which US would prefer, where of course they are fighting about the Chad, I think you may remember the Bush time. Chad is actually a country in Africa. Chad is
Yes.
also the end of the electoral thing, and the last election in US was a chaos actually. So many people were supposed to have been denied voting. So many people have added voting. God knows what has happened. Anyhow, Trump got thrown out. So that is the exact democracy which everybody has to follow. Is not necessarily a correct thing. So this regime change in China are all dream. I can assure you on that.
By
Right?
the way, viewers, I'm going to be live today evening, 5:45 p.m. Pacific time, which will be 6:15 a.m. India time. We're going to have a rally in front of the town hall meeting of Ro Khanna, and this rally is in support of saying no to 403 SB 403. Congressman Khanna has not yet come out and said one way or the other, so there is some pressure being put on him to take his stand, make his stand clear. A lot of people are very upset about how this has been ramrodded down their throats. A lot of stuff happening. You also probably saw my clarification on, not clarification, I should say, my explanation of how I understood the case that now the California State Department for racial something has withdrawn against the Cisco caste discrimination case. They never had a case to begin with. Anyway, so there is one other program coming. I'm going to try and do it live. This is the first. Sometimes, connectivity can be a bit of a challenge, but I'm going to do my best to try and go live. So stay tuned for that in the evening. See the
All power to you, Iyer, in your fight against disruptive forces in US, right?
Yes,
Very
sir.
good.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
US to more China dependent. No. Why should it be? The BRIC currency come, it is going to be helpful to us. France recent stand, it's not only France. I'm telling Europe will split. Europe will fall apart. That's why they want to enlarge the scope of NATO and other thing. Nothing is going to happen. The major countries in Europe, France and Germany, are not very enthusiastic about US. They are more into their own, their self. Every country has their own self-interest. Let's be very clear about it. They are not going to sacrifice it in the cause of some US requirement or anything. Okay.
Next question, please. Harish Patil wants
Harish.
to know, does Modi Vishwaguru, what we portray with Bharat lens, really work when the rest of the two worlds see it with different lenses?
No. I don't think this Modi is a Vishwaguru is actually, what I would call an acquisition. Modi never has been classified as a Vishwaguru. India should become a Vishwaguru. That is the whole idea behind it. It's like, some people call Modani, suddenly a new name, Modi and other. Let's not take all these things. And when the rest of the two worlds see it with the different lenses, no. Many are beginning to understand what India is wanting to communicate. They may not agree. You see, there are two different things. Understanding and agreeing. At least they are beginning to understand what India wants. And that our Foreign Minister Jaishankar is very categorically and clearly telling. They understand it now. They may not agree. Obviously, they won't appreciate. That's a third dimension. There are three things you should understand in global politics. Understanding, agreeing, and appreciating. We are only in the first stage.
The last meeting that Vice President Kamala Harris had with Modi, evidently she tried to lecture him on democracy, and I believe his answer was priceless. I won't tell the answer here, but so this is what happens. Some of the American politicians do believe that they can throw their weight about. They don't understand that they have many skeletons in their own cupboard, and they find me perhaps very inconvenient too. Sir, one very good thing, Professor RV, America thinks I'm an Indian spy. India thinks I'm an American spy. I think I don't know where I am, sir. I am just PGurus, nothing else.
You are in between. That's all. Arunachal Pradesh visit. No. These are just grandstanding. Nothing. The world confidence in India. No. World will. World mean what world? This is what as Jaishankar I will ask. Which world you are talking about? If you are talking about America, their confidence in India will increase only when Indian troops are sent inside China. That's all. They want They want to what one can call fight with China to the last Indian. You should remember that. That
like they are fighting Russia to the last Ukrainian.
Same thing. So all that don't anyhow. Okay.
Bharani Chandar wants to know the current
POTUS does not seem to care about anything other than Russia. Rupee being accepted. What blowback or torpedo can expect from? Next president itself is a very dicey thing. What is happening there, nobody understands. Because if this man is current rating is very, very low, actually. Current rating of the current Sleepy Joe, or what is called the dementia Joe Biden. Incidentally, he is the second Catholic president of US after John F. Kennedy was shot dead. So let's wait and see what is the shape of things which is coming in the US. But a large portion of the US, whatever little I understand, wants to be more inward looking nowadays. It's not very enthusiastic about even they claim that in case war is in Taiwan, they will send US troops. I don't think it is going to happen, because one body bag coming back to JFK airport will create such a huge, because one dead American is equivalent to 10,000 Indians dying. At least one can say that is the sort of a equality, or maybe not more than 10,000 or 50,000 Pakistanis dying. Anyhow, it doesn't matter. So that's not going to happen, right? So they are worried about Russia because they think that pushing Russia to the brink will help them to get the dominance in Europe. That's not going to happen. And this joker in Ukraine, that green T-shirt fellow, permanently, why can't he change the T-shirt at least once in a while? The same green is wearing everywhere. Most irritating. And much of the pictures are, I am told, in Universal Studio, not in Ukraine. That's why you don't have the embedded journalist of Iraq war and other. There are no journalists at all, American journalists inside Ukraine, giving you, the spot, giving you the most hot news, nothing. These are all just propaganda material. He was I think many of you will know, he was a circus comedy.
He was a comedian before he became the president. Yes.
Okay. Bharani Chandar, I hope you are. Is going to be a big problem
sir,
for
here
India.
Is an off-topic. Sir, this is an out-of-syllabus question.
Going to be a big issue. What is that, OPS?
Yes, OPS.
EPS, OPS, that Tamil Nadu issue or something more?
Yeah. That's what he's asking. Yeah.
Huh?
That is what he's asking.
What is this OPS?
Sir, you're talking about O. Pannirselvam, sir, of course.
I don't think so. He meant some other operations.
Jagannath, this is out of syllabus today. Renu Narang wants
organization. No. They will not have to worry about it at all. Our offshore borrowers are, between you and me, don't tell anybody. Substantial number of them are Indians themselves. So they would know how to deal with the situation. It's a circular economy, anyhow. Okay? Iyer knows what I am talking about. Whether India can afford rage, real estate collapse, it is, nothing. People have convinced themselves and others, trying to convince others that China has failed. Real estate, where has it collapsed? It's like waiting for the collapse of the Pakistan. That's last 3-4 months. I am told Pakistan has got only 1 month reserve left in its hand. And anyhow, no real estate. As many real estate flats are empty in Bangalore as much is in Shanghai. There is no collapse or anything. BRI, definitely not. What should India do? Nothing. India should continue to do what it is doing, developing its relationship with neighbors as well as with other African countries. India is having some big projects in some of these African countries, including Adani's, which is much maligned. But Indian business, if you provide enough amount of enthusiasm and interest, they can conquer the world. Underline my thing. And talking about this, Ambani's and other, all over the world, every developed country used business people like Ambani's and Adani's only. Let's be very clear about it. South America, South Korea, Japan, in the olden days, US. You go back in history for US, what type of mafia gangs were ruling the roost, and Germany, France, every country had its share of Ambani's and Adani's. There is absolutely no need, and they used to call it in different names: free market economy, capitalism, and whatever. We will also call it some name. So don't worry about it. What should India do? Unleash our Ambani's, Adani's on the global theater. That's all we can do. They will conquer half of the world. We can still trust what is there. It funds. Arey Baba, US is completely the underwriter for Pakistan. What have you done? Including, incidentally, even with Pakistan, we have not broken any relationship. We have trade today with Pakistan. We have diplomatic relation with Pakistan. And it funds a lot of anti-national elements. You mean China funds more anti-national elements than US in India? Anyhow, that's all right. That's not true, Ishwar.
Srihari Kumar wants to know your perspective on.
For a year at least for the alternate currency by BRICS. Actually, we had one gentleman, 𝗣𝙂𝘂𝗿𝘂𝘀. He was a banker in India, thoroughly known. He was heading the BRICS bank for a period of 4 years. He should have worked very hard. I have written several mails to him to create this alternate currency. 50 lakh per month salary with an aircraft at his disposal. Right? Anyhow, we miss great chances. Alternate currency will come. Don't worry about it. Next.
Tamil Hindu wants to know, is Europe...
China, of course. With US approval to try to isolate. No, you cannot. Russia and China are, what you may loosely call, they are combined in the hip. You cannot try to cut it off or anything. And Russian foreign minister told India as one of the third party, closest friend. I do not know what was the reaction of the Americans on this score. Anyhow, so you cannot isolate Russia. That question doesn't arise actually.
Sir, US deserves it. Before we go to the next question, US deserves it. US has no business commenting about one district court decision to bar Rahul Gandhi. Then one congressman, tweets out telling Mr. Modi should intervene and make sure that this is not, it's undone. I mean, would they do it themselves? So these are all, and not only that, sir, the Department of State issues an official statement on Rahul Gandhi, and they made sure that an Indian American such as my face, was the one who was issuing it. It was deliberate. So when US does it, it's all chamatkar. When others do it, it's not. How come?
Correct. And incidentally, if Modi tries to interfere in this, I am just telling you, he could be in deep trouble. Court are not going to take it easily or anything. Just because the Prime Minister says release him or condone him, you know how our system works. It doesn't work like that actually. Okay.
Next question, please. Maybe last 2-3 questions. That's all. We want to finish before.
This Nastro. These are all accounts which are kept in the foreign bank or established entity in order to do the transactions much later. That's all. There is nothing, and the ownership may not necessarily be revealed. These are for trade secrets and trade purposes, and these are very recognized accounts. These are not something which is illegal or anything. I want to do trade with some other country. I want to buy, let's say, bananas, and I am very worried about banana. Prices may go up. Another thing, I don't want anybody else to know also how much bananas I am planning to procure. So I create an Astro account and then keep the funds within that. Another thing. We will have an elaborate discussion on this some other time.
Arvind wants to know, Dr. RV, do you
also protesting? You see, I really do not know the full idea. There is one school of thought which says that she has been arrested in order to protect her. This is something very interesting. It appears there is a genuine worry that she could get into difficulties, and so they have kept her inside in order to. But I really do not know what type of speech. But by and large, I don't think Gujarat government or the particular district and other thing will be vindictive against her. I don't think so. It's not quite acceptable or recognizable, given the level of Vishwa Hindu Parishad and various other Hindu organizations in Gujarat. So there is something more than what meets our eye. That's what I would say.
Well, we have given the hint on what that something more than meets the eye is. If you go and watch my conversation with 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝘪 in the morning today, you will know the answer to that. He has already hinted that. Go ahead. Next question, please. Louis the 15th. Why can't Saudi Arabia and UAE launch their own currency when they have all the oil? Like India is
They
using
want
dirham.
oil, sir, but oil is getting de-dollarized, like de-oilized. It's not something which is you know such a great position in the 70s and 80s. Significant amount of changes have come about in various countries, including in India, using the what you call the non-regular type of power. We have our own wind power, solar power, and electric. Electric vehicles are the highest selling in India today. That's a major mover of vehicle selling, two-wheelers, not others. So Saudi Arabia and UAE know about it. That's why Saudi Arabia want to position itself as the sports capital of the world. Let's wait and see how much they succeed in that. They are trying to lure golf. They are trying to lure football. They are, several other. And the culture also they talk about, which one can laugh. When you talk about desert culture, anyhow, that's what they say. So they cannot. BRICS is they have applied for BRICS, incidentally, both the countries you mentioned, right?
Sir, next question. Does caste as social capital apply in other countries also?
Yeah, in different formulations actually. In US, till the 70s, 80s at least, church used to be a very major social capital. You went in the same education district, you attended the same church, and then you became friendly, and different people of different churches had their own communities and their own. Slowly, the influence is coming down, and of course now it is between blue states and red states, and within red state there are some blue elements and other things. So there is different groupings. That's all. So they don't call it by the name caste, but some other name you call it actually. Is it just a terminology which is used in order to? So in Germany, in Japan, there is plenty of these groupings are there, wherein business, commerce, and other thing is conducted within the group. So one can definitely say in all countries it's not a, of course outside we will say that it's all professional and other thing, but everybody knows inside there is a lot of this commonalities helps them actually. Okay.
Jagannath Das wants to know Indian.
No, now it's all cleared. There used to be some problem earlier. I think Iyer has mentioned about it in his book and other thing. So now it's much different. Yeah.
Next question, please. All right, that brings us to a close. Professor RV, that was a very enjoyable session, sir. I had a lot of fun, and we did some leg pulling, and I think I always welcome that. Viewers, I hope you had fun too. Please share the word. Good professor only comes on some channels. I consider myself lucky that he thinks it is worth his time to come on our channel. As you can see, he's busy at work. He's planning the next international currency. He's writing history even as we speak. So thank you very much, Professor RV, and may you regale us with stories like this. And we'll be back again very shortly with Professor RV. In the meantime, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications and follow Professor RV on Twitter, 𝑟vaidya2000. You can see it on the screen. And also follow us on Twitter, PGurus1 and 𝙒𝙖𝙧𝙤𝙀1. Thank you very much, Professor RV. Namaskar.